Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a very relaxed day here, raining outside. Just chilling, just in my own flow of life living itself. And it's very beautiful and interesting to be living on my own for a period of time, for a long time, in a way that I haven't been before. It's kind of like a never-ending retreat. Not never-ending because, like all things, it will come to an end. But it doesn't have a due date on it, And so there's just a lot of time to explore consciousness as it's appearing in me. And no distractions. So it's been beautiful, but it does bring up certain kind of wonderings, like, is it okay for life to be this quiet? That's the question. The fear that life may be passing one by can arise. And I see it in its innocence. It's like, yeah, you learned that life is doing, life is relating, life is these specific things of getting your needs met, and now it looks a little different. And there's something about aging and maturing where you start to realize that I'm the only one responsible for my life, Someone's not going to come in and fix it for me or make it different. It's just my life, And it's up to me how I want to live it. Sometimes it takes a deep relaxation to actually come to that point, and emptying out, where the programs can kind of relax and you get to see yourself in a more clear way. That's what seems to be happening here. And yeah, it's an interesting process, and learning to take responsibility for my life. Let's see what Choose Only Love has to say about it. We can take this time to rest into the Abode of Light, Chapter 8, and allow the present moment to nourish the nervous system, soothe the mind. And the invitation here is just to really allow yourself to relax and notice the parts of you that don't wanna, and no need to make them wrong. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all the parts that want to make things different, that want to assert themselves. These are valuable aspects of our experience that need to be welcomed in to this present moment and honored for what they are and what they bring, because they can really integrated, they bring so much beauty. These protector parts, these burdened parts, let's welcome them in to this moment, to the Abode of Light. A message from the voice of Christ through a choir of angels in the presence of Archangel Raphael and Archangel Gabriel. Prelude. Dear children of eternal light, again we have come to dwell among you. You are the Abode of Light. First of all, we thank God the Father and Creator for allowing us to dwell among you. You must know, or rather remember, that you are in the plan. You are chosen to enlighten the world with your love, with the glow of wisdom that dwells in you. So allowing the light to meet you in this moment, exactly where you are, all part of the plan. The blessing is here, it's available, and it's meeting you in the mind, in the heart, in the present moment. It's meeting you in your tensest, most stressed out places. It's holding you there. It's meeting you there. We thank you for receiving these words full of love. Give thanks for the gift of this work, the blessed gift of these words that come from a love that is not of the world, but is expressed in the world. A love given to you who are in the world but not of the world. A love given and received by you who welcome these words. You become the light of Christ by remembering who you really are. Hello, Ron Away, and welcome to the Christ Mind Livestream. The invitation is just to relax here into the present moment and let the words greet you and meet you and bless you. And right now we're opening to gratitude. Gratitude for what's been given. Not because we need to make a payment of gratitude, but because gratitude blesses us first and opens our mind to the wisdom and the blessing of the present moment. Gratitude is how we meet God. Gratitude opens us to the light. Once again, let us remember what your minds and hearts united in fullness already know perfectly well. Remember, blessed of God, you do not belong to the world. You belong to love. You have been chosen in divine thought to spread love in the world, a new world whose foundation is truth. So what we already know, we're remembering our essence, our nature, our truth, and allowing it to express through us, shine through us, and bless the world. Children of divine light, remember that love comes from the Most High, the source of all love, and extends to all creation, including the world you create when you allow the soul to open up to the constant and perpetual flow of God's love. Remember the love that flows from the union of the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Immaculate Heart of Mary, to you and from you to all. We thank God for you. You are the abode of light. You are love incarnated. You are. I am. You are. We speak to you in both singular and plural, and also in both feminine and masculine, because we, who are one with Christ and one with you, including you, know that we are one mind, one self, one God, united in the fullness of love. We who live in the eternal truth are the voice of true consciousness. For us there is no singular or plural, no feminine or masculine. There is only the self, which is totality. But given that for you there are still distinctions between singular and plural, feminine and masculine, we speak to you in both ways so that you experience the joy of unity. Oh, very inclusive, very progressive, beyond gender, non-conformity of gender. It's a bit of a different level of reality, speaking from there, beyond the body, beyond the separate identity. Everything is included, everything. Today we, the many who from heaven dwell among you for love and divine grace, have come to speak of light from a different perspective. We have come to remind you of what you know but often forget. You are light because the Father of light created you in his likeness. The light exists to illuminate. You can only see when there is light. This is true as much in heaven as on earth. What you do not see with the eyes of the body is invisible. What you do not see with the light of your consciousness is also invisible. What happens then when you make invisible, by not seeing it, with the light of your consciousness, your sister or your brother in Christ? So the light by which we see is Christ, is the child of God, the extension of light. Extension of light is what we are, and is the light by which we see, the consciousness by which we know and perceive. Expression and knowledge. Your deepest fear is a fear of feeling. When you fail to see others or yourself from the light of your consciousness, you are not coming from love. Love is light. You who hear these words, remember also that you were created as a unique self, and you need to express yourself. The need for expression is an inherent need. In fact, this is the only need of the self, because the self needs to know itself, and cannot know itself unless expressed. To be known, the self must be expressed, just as God does with you and with everything. God has given everything that He is. You express yourself by the mere fact of being. In other words, you express yourself because you are who you are. So expression is a need of consciousness. It's always expressing itself. And it's important that we allow ourselves to express what we are, so that we can see ourselves in action. In the Course in Miracles, it says that we extend love to realize that we are love. It confirms our beingness through our perception. If we don't express it, we're holding it back, and we're creating tension and resistance and difficulty. Given the need of self to express itself, to know itself, each time you do not express your desires, viewpoints, ways of thinking, or needs, there is part of you that becomes invisible. It goes into shadow. Often we talk about the unconscious. You need to acknowledge your feelings, at least to yourself, or they will be invisible. There is wisdom in the energy of your feelings. So allowing our insecurities to come forward to be seen, allowing our difficulties, allowing our fears to be seen, allowing anger, allowing sadness to be seen, and allowing our deepest needs to be seen. And this is often the hardest part, to see that we actually have deep, vulnerable needs that are hidden. Since this work is an exercise in self-remembrance, we will use an example of everyday life to illustrate. Oh, that's helpful. A little illustration. If you are angry with a person or situation, you may suppress your anger because of a prior judgment that you should not feel angry, or you may just explode with anger and let that energy go out in a rage, in which case you lost the message it has for you. Alternatively, if you join with that energy within, then you keep united with life. Feelings bring energy of life. Life is like the center of a fire, and the flames of that fire are feelings, always on the move, always flaming. If you want to be united to life, you have to be united to whatever comes to your inner world, including feelings. Each feeling has a message for you. So remaining in the center of self and allowing the feelings to flicker and flame around that center without necessarily merging with them and exploding out into them with anger, but also not suppressing them and pretending they don't exist and fighting them and resisting and denying them. You may either suppress or unconsciously express any emotion you experience. This is how fear manifests. These emotions do not go away but accumulate, and your true self becomes hidden, invisible. So true self becomes hidden under these accumulated feelings, resisted and hidden feelings. They become almost like a wall or a barrier between the surface level perception and the unified field of Christ consciousness that we are, that is one with the divine. This is the opposite of love, because love is given to itself without measure. Love is always pouring into itself, flowing within itself, and giving itself to itself abundantly. Now we will remember together how fear leads you to make your true self invisible to both yourself and others. All right, let's get into the mechanics of it here. 3. Invisibility. Soul in love. Your true self has been invisible for so long that you think it's natural. Since time immemorial, humanity's desire to be special, which is the origin of separation, has subdued everything to its limited egoic self. Humanity has had the mistaken idea that it could be separate from God, this simple idea of separation, and that it could be independent and self-sufficient to have a life apart from God. In that egoic self-absorption, the true self became invisible. The desire to be special makes invisible everything that the ego fears is not worthy of its love or its recognition. But sons and daughters of God, how could it extend its so-called love if this desire is itself a lack of love, the desire to glorify itself? So the desire to be special is a lack of love. It's to separate from love, from source. And then to try to find love within that field of experiencing, which is already stipulated that it's apart from love. So I'm apart from love, and now in this world I've created apart from love. How can I find love? How can I get it? Well, you already denied it to yourself. So any effort to get it just builds upon the denial of love already. And so you could say it's already here. It's already here, and just stop looking for it. Stop struggling to find it. And just admit that it's already present. Obviously, easier said than done. There's parts of the mind that are so dedicated to the denial, and it feels like dying to let it go. So we meet it slowly and gently in the light of love and let it soften bit by bit and be humbled in the present moment as we see the denial for what it is, a denial of the love that we are. It often looks like an identity, that I'm this, I'm that. The memory of all unsatisfied needs, whether unsatisfied by people, things, circumstances, or ideas, has accumulated over generations and generations to become a set of memories that together are retained as humanity's painful memory bank. This reminds me of what sometimes gets called the pain body. Human suffering is born, grows, and develops from this source. Every time you perceive your desires and needs to be unsatisfied, every time you feel run over by others or by life, you feel that you live in a world where you are at risk. This breeds fear in two different ways. Something like two sides of a coin. One side of the fear is being dissatisfied and experiencing lack. The other is a fear that your will, your desires, your feelings, your way of being is in danger of being annihilated. So the desire of lack, or the desire of the fear of lack, or the fear of annihilation, being annihilated. Yeah, that's a fearful thing. Hello, sacred seeker. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sit back and enjoy, and feel free to pop in with any comments or reflections as they may arise. We're just kind of leisurely strolling through this text about our relationship with the divine and how our denial of our feelings and our needs creates the sense of separation from love. The denial of feelings and needs. You well know the pang of the shortcomings which, although illusory, are perceived as real by those who believe that survival of the body is paramount. But remember also the second side of this coin of pain, the annihilated self. In a broader context, this trampling of will, desire, and feeling is the mechanism that externalized that externalized is exhibited in what you call accidents. An examination of what these accidents mean will show that, one way or another, you or the other have been invisible. Your world is full of eloquent examples of being invisible. So that these accidents, quotation marks, aren't really accidents, but something to do with the fear of annihilation. The trampling of will, desire, and feeling is the mechanism that externalized is exhibited in what you call accidents. If anyone has any insight on that, it would be appreciated because it feels a little mesmerizing at this point. Maybe it's going to go into more detail here. You live in a world of outrage. Outrage is merely a manifestation of what is inside your souls. You often bump up against each other, and not just in the crowded streets of modern cities. There would be no outrage were there no ability to run others over, nor the desire to do so. You run others over every time you decide not to see. Really seeing means seeing everything you are. It is an internal, not an external matter. As within, so without. So it's saying that we are willfully ignorant at times. There's things that we don't want to see. And this leads to unconsciousness, which creates a space where accidents can happen. Bad things that are kind of surprising or out of the blue. Because really our consciousness is so vast and so keen that if we're willing, we can see it all. We can see it all from its source, from its inception. And no accidents would be able to come into our mind. Children of God, to make invisible a sister or brother in Christ, or any part of creation, is to mutilate the consciousness of the self. To ignore feelings or desires in yourself or in your sisters and brothers creates a world of darkness in which you deposit everything you do not want to see. Everything invisible, everything ignored, is sent to these gloomy vaults of unconscious memory. These are the vaults of ignorance. This is dreaded hell, not because it is scary, but because it becomes fearsome in your decision not to love part of yourself and therefore life itself, so that we create the unconscious by our unwillingness to see or look upon. And we think we're creating some kind of freedom in that, like, oh, I don't have to look at that. I'm safe from that. I don't have to look at that. But really it creates this outpictured realm of suffering. You know, it has to be projected onto the screen because no one really wants to take responsibility for it and own it within their own consciousness and be the light that shines on it and loves it and redeems it. You know, take control, take that power that that God-given power of being the light that can shine away the unconscious and the darkness and the suffering of ourself and others when we're willing to look upon it all. The desire to be and to know. Perhaps you ask yourself, why? Why do we, who have already transcended the ego and dwell in the abode of light, now speak of this to you? Because the mechanism of making invisible persists. It is a pattern of thought and emotional response. The habit of closing your eyes to what you have judged as fearsome or undesirable is your attempt to eliminate what you do not like from creation. Love everything that arises. Follow your feelings wherever they may take you. If you bury your desires and needs, if you resist what arises, you cannot recognize that the self has only the desire to love and the need to be loved, and the desire to be yourself and the need to know yourself. There are no desires and no needs other than these. If the desire and the unique need of the self is to love and be loved, which is the same as saying to be and to know, then why do you perceive countless needs, shortcomings, and desires? From where does the dissatisfaction arise but from unmet needs? Yet what needs could be left unsatisfied by a loving Father? Good question. How does this work? How do these seeming needs, secondary needs that aren't just pure love, arise and then seem to be unmet? Children of love, your heavenly Father has created yourself with its inherent need to be loved, to love and be loved, to be, to know, and to have full satisfaction. He never leaves you unsatisfied. In truth, only God is enough. God is the fullness of self because God is love. Recognize that only the confused identity of the ego, false needs disguised as being real, are what make you restless, anxious, and dissatisfied. There is no dissatisfaction whatsoever in your true being. All dissatisfaction is the effect of the mental mechanism and emotional response that still remains active as a pattern of memory. Release forever this mechanism. You don't need it. You never needed it. Okay, so this mechanism that creates the sense of lack based on memory and a confused identity of being separate from God, this confused identity, like I separated from love, and now I have these replacement needs like food, water, sex, entertainment, but these are just fillers that are trying to fill the hole that the confused identity has created of being apart from God. Like I'm a separate me, self, that's standing all by myself apart from the love that I long for. And then all these secondary needs come in, desires to get things and fill this void. But we don't need it. We can release this forever and nourish ourselves with the true need, which is this love that's available in the present moment when we relax out of these false identities. Or we could say even more, when we're just willing to see them clearly, just really see them, really look upon them. Do you really believe that God created you with needs that could not be satisfied? Condemned to unhappiness, trapped in a greedy and desperate race whose unattainable goal is to satisfy insatiable needs? What an absurd belief. What joy to know that this is only a belief that, although rooted in the depths of the mind and the heart, can be let go of completely and forever to live in the fullness of love. So, I think I'm going to end here today at part 5 and pick that up next time. Distinguishing the true feelings. So, the joy to know that this is only a belief, this unsolvable problem of life. And it's rooted deeply in the mind and heart, but can, in fact, be let go of completely. And we can live in the fullness of love. So that's the gospel, that's the truth, that's the promise of the divine. And it's something we can taste in the present moment, in this holy instant. We can taste the sweetness of the nectar of that promise that all your needs can be met from within yourself. And they are not to be denied, like, oh, they don't exist. No. Include them all, so that they can come home to their source, so that they can see that what they thought was this clenched fist of lack was always just a misperception, a misidentity, a misunderstanding. And when the light shines gently upon it, it starts to open and receive and allow, and it just receives the blessing of this present moment. And that's how the redemption happens. That's how the present moment heals what seems to be lacking and what seems to be limited and what seems to be in suffering. So we bring it into this moment, and we don't continue to try to push it away and get rid of it, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work, because you are the solution. You're the solution. So if you push it away from yourself, you're pushing it away from its solution. We have to take responsibility for being the place where the light can meet the darkness. And it's a joyful role to play, to be that place where the darkness can come home. And we don't have to be some sort of special holy person to do this. It's just what we are already, and we learn to do it through innocence and willingness, and not through some sorts of spiritual gymnastics or kind of crazy, absurd, proving ourselves practices. Not necessary, just the willingness to let love meet you where you are right now. Too simple, too simple. And if this message resonates, you can learn more about it at christmind.info. It has a lot of these books, channeled texts. There are some teachers on YouTube and stuff who teach like A Course in Miracles, and not so much this one, Choose Only Love, but it comes from the same radiant source, the Christ consciousness presence that lived in the historical figure Jesus and showed that only love is real. Only love is real. It's a radical message, but it's really what the heart already knows to be true and what we all long to live. It's the solution to all longings. And yeah, if you'd like to go deeper into this practice, there's an invitation to join me in one-on-one sessions where we join together in this simple willingness to be used, to show up and be shown, and to open to the light of love. And in that light of love, we let whatever perception is currently arising in the mind to come forward, and we share it into the present moment. Like, oh, I'm feeling this tension in my throat. And then we both affirm we're here to bless this perception, not to get rid of it, not to fix it, not to push it away, but just simply to bless it. And we let that be received. And then what comes next? Well, I'm feeling some softening there. And now I feel some sadness underneath it. There's just some sadness. I'm remembering, my relationship to my mother, my father, how I never felt seen by them. Okay, so thank you for bringing that forward. You're so welcome here. This perception that we've created is so welcome to come here and be in the light with us and to be received, and we bless it. And okay, we receive the blessing of this moment. What else is here? Oh, there's this frustration, and it goes like this, or maybe memories arise, or, magic can happen in these spaces when we join together with that shared intention of healing, and no one's doing it. We're just showing up to receive the grace together and to be miracle-minded, which means to accept that the present moment can correct in love what we don't try to control. Miracle-minded is the opposite of control and manipulation, which is what we've been so trained in operating through. And that's okay. We bless it. We bless it. We bless it as we see it. So thank you for joining me here. If there's anyone here, I don't know, maybe you're listening later on. If you are, thank you so much. And yeah, it's a heartfelt invitation to join in that practice and just keep showing up, and I'll keep doing these sharings. So have a beautiful night, a beautiful day, and I'll catch you